Hello YouTube, Totalhenry here. About a year ago, one of my viewers asked me to make a tutorial on how to draw Empoleon, and that's what I'm going to do. I've finally gotten around to doing it. I don't remember the user's name, but I am honoring your request. So this is the image I'm going to be working from. It's the image on Empoleon's page on Bulbapedia. Which is a really good Pokemon site that I would recommend you check out, and that's usually where I get the poses for my Pokemon videos. So in this video, there's going to be a lot of time lapse, and I will come back after the time lapse to give advice and go over some brief points, because I'm going to try to make this video shorter than my usual half hours to 40-minute tutorial videos where it's all real time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly draw the rough guidelines for Empoleon, and then I'm going to come back to say a few words. I kind of sound like Mark Crilly here, but sorry, Mark. So here I go.
Sometimes it's hard to know.
Okay, so I am done with the rough guidelines for Empoleon, and one thing to keep in mind whenever you're drawing, not just a Pokemon, but anything, is the proportions, the relation of like the size of the head to the rest of the body. So if you look at the size of Empoleon's head from sort of his chin to the top of his crown or trident thing, how far down that goes in the image, and it should come down to right about here. That's what it looks like in my reference image. So proportions are really key to make sure your drawing looks right. So as you can see, this arm should come down a little bit farther than the other one, because the other one is out, so it's not going to come down quite as far. And this arm, the one when it's fully at Empoleon's side, should basically come down almost to sort of the ankles, where eventually we're going to draw sort of tufts of fur or feathers. Now, the hardest thing about drawing Empoleon is this head stuff right here, because as you can see in the photo, let me see, hopefully this is showing up here, Empoleon's head is in this little cavity, or like he has this sort of collar right here. I don't know how to describe it. So this area right here is the hardest part. So yeah, just if you take your time and pay attention to the proportions, like how long the arms or wings are compared to each other, and how wide they are, it'll help your drawing. And I guess another thing to remember when drawing these arms, sort of like for penguins just in general, I guess the flippers or wings or arms, whatever the hell they are, is they're always wider in the middle, and then they sort of taper off. And in Empoleon's case, they basically come to a point. So that's what I have over here, is they come to a point, and then the one that's extending, you're not going to be able to see the rest of it because it's hidden behind the body. Now, the body of Empoleon is sort of like one of those little Russian nesting dolls things, where it's wider at the bottom than it is at the top, and it's so Empoleon sort of has like a belly, so you need to make sure that it gets wider, and then it starts to taper as it goes down to the feet. Those are sort of the main things to keep in mind. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start getting the details, because once you have your guidelines in place and you like the way it looks, you can start going in and the details, like there's this sort of white thing on Empoleon's chest, there are some sort of spikes, for lack of a better word, on Empoleon's flipper. So I'm going to go in, draw that, and then I will stop and point out certain things to be aware of when you're trying to draw Empoleon.
Which way you're supposed to go, but deep inside, you know you're strong. If you follow your heart, you can't be wrong. Sometimes it's hard to see just what's your destiny, but when you find the path that's true, you'll know that's the one for you. Stand up for what is right. Be brave, get ready to fight. Hold on, we're friends for life, and if we come together as one, complete the quest that we've begun, we will win the battle. Pokemon. Time is now, the game's begun.
Okay, so I have finished drawing all the details on Empoleon. So this is it. It is now ready to ink. So in regards to adding details to a drawing, it's very important that your the guidelines are in the right place, because otherwise the details are going to be all messed up, or you might have one area of the drawing that looks really good, but then something else looks a little weird because the proportions were off in your initial guideline sketch. So when you're trying to draw details, make sure you draw what you see. Don't like think, okay, well this line is probably here, when it's really not. Like, constantly be checking back and forth between the reference image, if you are using a reference image, just to make sure that things are right. If you're drawing something from your imagination, it's a little harder, but make sure that if you are trying to draw an existing character, or you are drawing from life or from a reference, and you want it to look like the image that you are checking back and forth, like to make sure that in the trident, these two outer prongs of Empoleon's trident are facing towards each other, like these little triangles right here. They're not facing the opposite way. That's just a small little detail that looking at the reference image will help you with. Another thing that might help is you have all these rough, loose guidelines that you made in sort of step one. Those can be erased. As you saw, I erased the stuff in Empoleon's trident to help basically to help clear things up and make it a little easier for me to see. Some artists are probably fine with drawing on top of the rough guidelines and are still able to see that the lines that they want. It's up to personal preference. I kind of want to make things clearer and a little neater, so I erased stuff. I also went back and redid this foot. I erased it, and then I drew it again because I didn't think it looked right. So don't be afraid to play around the things if it doesn't look quite right. So this is basically the end of the video. I'm going to ink this and color it, and I'm not gonna give too much advice on that. I'm going to be inking with this dip pen right here, where you dip it in ink and apply it to the page. And it's hard to give advice on this because one, I'm not very good at it, and two, not everybody has something like this. It's not like a pencil where basically everyone can find a pencil. And then after I ink it, I will go and color it. Let me know if you want me to make a separate video on inking and coloring. I will try to give my best advice on that. The only thing I'll say about coloring is in regards to shading, is I think it's better to start light and then go dark. Just especially I'll be using colored pencils, so just start lightly. Like Empoleon's trident is going to be yellow or sort of gold. So add a nice light coat of gold, and then if you want some areas to be a little darker, then make it a little darker. Don't try to go dark at once, because for many art materials, when you go dark, you can't go lighter, but when you go light, you can go darker. I hope that made sense. So I'll probably, once I'm done with everything, I'm done inking and coloring Empoleon, I will have some final comments on the whole process. But again, I will, as Mark Crilly would say, I'm going to kick it in the time lapse. I feel like I'm just stealing Mark Crilly's catchphrases. But, okay, here we go. Let's let the ink dip pen thing do its magic.
Together we will fight as one. Each of us in our own way can make this world a better place. And on for what is right, be brave, get ready to fight. Hold on, we're friends for life. And if we come together as one, complete the quest that we've begun, we will win the battle. Pokemon. Just when it seems that you are lost and all alone, you will find the courage and the strength to carry on. And if you fall along the way, have the faith you'll be okay. 'Cause your friends are there for you, reaching out to pull you through. Stand up for what is right, be brave, get ready to fight. Hold on, we're friends for life. And if we come together as one, complete the quest that we've begun, we will win the battle.
Is the finished product, Empoleon in all its glory. So I hope you guys found this video useful. I'm not sure how good I am at making these tutorial videos. Please leave a comment down below on ways I can improve my tutorials, or just other tutorials you guys want to see me do. And they don't have to be Pokemon, they can be anime or more art related stuff like perspective, stuff like that. So yep, that is my video on how to draw Empoleon, and hit this subscribe button so you never miss my new videos when they come out. Thank you for watching.